Hi, I'm Whitney Morgan, Hashimoto's coach and creator of the Thyroid Reboot Method. The question I hear most often from new clients is, when am I going to reverse my Hashimoto's? How long is it going to take? So the short answer is every woman's thyroid story is unique, and so is her healing timeline. I can't accurately predict for you how long it's going to take for you to reverse your Hashimoto's. What it boils down to is, where are you starting from? And how long did it take for you to get there? That's going to determine how much work you need to do in order to reverse the whole process. But if you want results, if you want to be successful, you need to go through 3 different stages of healing. And sometimes you go through these stages more than once. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about each stage of healing and what you can expect to experience when you go through each one. But before we jump into it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that little bell next to it so you'll get notified every time I post a new video. Okay, so stage 1 is what I refer to as the input stage. Every system has an input and an output. And in this first stage of healing, that's where we focus on controlling the input. And by that, I mean controlling the dietary and lifestyle factors that are contributing to your disease. This involves a lot of gut work. Why? Because the gut is our primary interface with our external environment. It's what receives the majority of the input that we bring into our body system on a daily basis. So during the input stage, you need to figure out what foods are pissing off your immune system and causing inflammation. You need to assess and change other lifestyle and behavioral choices that influence the gut. And when all of that is done the right way, inflammation in the body takes a deep dive, both systemic inflammation and gut inflammation. The immune system calms down and you experience an improvement in symptoms. So it's very common for women to have some pretty positive experiences during this first stage and to see a lot of improvement. Improvement in sleep, increases in energy, effortless weight loss, feeling better in their body, better in their clothes, more ease of movement. Any pain in the body tends to diminish quite a bit. So the first stage is usually a pretty positive experience. And then we get to stage 2. Stage 2 is what I call the stabilization stage. This is where all of the work that we've done in stage 1 gets integrated throughout the body. So a lot of subtle changes are going on here in the adrenal system, in the thyroid system, the sex hormones, and stabilization and integration is critical for the 3rd stage, which is the output stage. But let me back up, because when most women hit this stabilization stage, they interpret it as a plateau, as a slowing down of improvement, like nothing's happening, nothing's changing. And it can be a little disheartening because the first stage is super exciting. They're seeing a lot of positive results. And then suddenly they kind of hit this wall. They're still feeling better. They still have their increased energy. They still dropped a few pounds. They're feeling better in their body. All of that stuff is still true, but they're just kind of treading water. But I'm here to tell you that's okay. That has to happen. You have to have a period of stabilization so that we can move on to stage 3, which is that output stage. This is a deeper level of work where we're identifying all of the things that you've been holding on to for a really long time. So that could be mycotoxins, other environmental toxins, heavy metals, things that are really lodged deep in the body, held and sequestered in the tissues. Okay, now it's time for us to identify those things and start to eliminate them, get them out of the body, release them. If you start trying to do the work of stage 3 too soon, you're going to wind up feeling pretty crappy. You're also going to wind up recirculating a lot of toxins. You don't want to do that. Now, stage 3, the output stage, can be a bit of a roller coaster. For some women, it's awesome. They accelerate all of their improvements, their energy goes up, they're just feeling really great. They feel like they've just busted out of this plateau and they're kind of steamrolling towards a really good place. But it's also not unusual to experience an increase in negative symptoms, like suddenly your sleep is getting disturbed, or you're starting to feel a little irritable or anxious, or you're getting some aches and pains, maybe some flu-like symptoms. This is what happens sometimes when we're eliminating toxins from the body from a very, very deep place. And I like to think of it as, if you were spring cleaning in your house, if you have that once a year where you just go through every drawer and every closet and, you move the furniture and you're dusting everything. Well, you can get to a point during the spring cleaning process where you look around and you say to yourself, oh my God, this is a disaster. It would just be easier to move than it would be to finish this job. That can be how it feels sometimes in stage 3 because we're kicking up a lot of dust. We're just bringing everything out from where it's been hiding, from deep in those closets and in those drawers. And it can get kind of messy. So stage 3 is where sometimes you have to just be patient and breathe and tell yourself, this too shall pass. Eventually, I'll get to the other side of this. I'll turn around and go, oh my God, this is so much better. So I want you to remember a couple of things about these 3 stages. The first, you have to go through each one. You can't skip if you want long-lasting, sustainable improvement. The second thing to remember is that depending on where you're starting from, you may need to go through these 3 stages a second or a third time before you get the results that you want. But don't be discouraged by that because in my experience, every time you go through this cycle, it's easier and it's quicker. It's more of a refinement. It's not like you're doing the same work all over again or starting from square one. Reversing Hashimoto's is not a sprint. It's a marathon. That's why it's so important that you have a functional health coach with you every step of the way. Someone who's familiar with the lay of the land, who can accurately assess where your starting point is, and can lay out a customized roadmap for you to walk you through each one of these stages so that you get the results that you want. That's why I've designed my Thyroid Reboot Method to include unlimited access and support. And what that means for you is you have unlimited access to me when you need me. Because you can't schedule a crisis. You can't schedule a Hashimoto's flare or a rough patch where you need additional support and troubleshooting. You also can't control your own personal healing timeline. That's why you need to have support when you need it, whether that's once a week or once every 2 days. You deserve support when you need it every step of the way. If you want to learn more about my Thyroid Reboot Method and figure out whether or not you and I would be a good fit to work together, schedule a free call with me. Just use the link that are in the video notes below. If you're watching the replay on IGTV, just head to my bio link. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you found this video helpful, you can let me know by liking it, subscribing to my channel, or sharing this video with a friend who has Hashimoto's. And as always, if you have questions, please drop them in the comments. I do try my best to answer everyone. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.